This man tried running away from attacking bear and was ripped to pieces. Today, we take a closer look at the brutal bear attack on Brian and Marilyn Matayoshi, who ignored warnings of a brown bear in Yellowstone National Park. This tragic encounter serves as a reminder of the importance of respecting wildlife and following safety protocols when exploring the great outdoors. So sit back and join us as we explore this harrowing tale of survival and loss. On July 6, 2011, Brian and Marilyn Matayoshi, a married couple, were taking a leisurely walk in Wyoming's Yellowstone National Park. They followed the Wapiti Lake trailhead on the park's east side, enjoying the beautiful weather and carrying their cameras and binoculars. Marilyn brought along a small backpack containing water and an extra sweater. Stopping to appreciate the stunning surroundings, the couple gazed up at the trees in search of Yellowstone's elusive birds, including the Osprey, peregrine falcon, and bald eagle. The peaceful ambiance of nature provided a therapeutic experience as they strolled contentedly in the warm summer sunshine, exchanging few words between them. It was approximately an hour and a half into their journey when they encountered another walker. The hiker they encountered cautioned Brian and Marilyn about a brown bear with 2 cubs ahead, a mere 500 yards up the trail. The couple expressed gratitude for the information and pressed on, eager to capture images of one of nature's most impressive creatures. Peering through the trees, they caught a glimpse of a sow and her cubs leisurely strolling across a lush green meadow. Brian and Marilyn clutched their cameras, snapping photo after photo in awe of the incredible sight before them. The cubs played among the long grasses, while their mother lumbered along seemingly unconcerned. After capturing a considerable number of photos, Brian and Marilyn opted to trek further down the trail. However, the pair began to feel increasingly agitated by a growing swarm of mosquitoes. The muggy air made it difficult to concentrate as they spent their time incessantly swatting at the pests, causing their scalps and bare arms to itch and scratch. Ultimately, they resolved to turn back. The couple had already hiked a considerable distance and were rewarded with spectacular views of various wildlife, including the female bear and her cubs when they passed the meadow on their return. Before we move on to the unexpected attack, I would appreciate it if you would give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Let's move on to the unexpected attack. However, this time, the bears were much closer to the path, causing Brian and Marilyn to freeze on the spot as they spotted the large grizzly less than 100 yards away. They had previously felt safe photographing the bears from a significant distance, but terror gripped them as the grizzly began to trot towards them. Fueled by adrenaline, they had to make a split-second decision. Remembering the numerous signs along the path warning of the bear's danger, all the advice they had read emphasized standing still, holding one's ground, making no sudden movements or loud noises if a bear approached, and lying face down on the ground with hands behind the neck and head for protection if attacked. However, when faced with a 150-kilogram apex predator running towards them, resisting the urge to run can be challenging. As the bear charged towards them, Brian and Marilyn struggled to suppress that impulse. It was an overwhelming feeling driven by instinct, and it cost Brian, a 50-year-old man, his life. In the brief moments as the bear advanced towards them, Brian shouted, "Run!" and the two of them sprinted as fast as they could back along the path they had just traveled. They continued yelling and screaming, hoping someone would come to their aid, but no one arrived. Despite her initial belief that they could make it, Marilyn soon realized that their hasty retreat was not working. As they fled, the possibility that the bear had given up crossed their minds. Perhaps the two trespassers were deemed unworthy of pursuit. However, upon a backward glance, they were proven incorrect. Their flight continued until the bear finally caught up with them after a distance of approximately 200 yards. Sensing an imminent attack, Marilyn quickly veered off the path and sought refuge behind a fallen tree. As she gazed upward, she witnessed the bear's paw connect with her spouse's body, causing Brian to plummet to the earth with a resounding cry. The impact of the animal's strike was severe, striking him on the head and leaving him disoriented and still on the ground. The bear cubs, having joined their mother in the pursuit, snarled menacingly from a distance. The mother bear then lunged forward, chomping down on Brian's leg above the knee. A surge of excruciating pain coursed through Brian's body, causing him to shriek out. The bear's teeth had penetrated deep into his thigh, cutting through flesh and severing his femoral artery. From a few yards away, Marilyn watched on in terror as the gruesome attack unfolded before her very eyes. Her fear only intensified when the bear advanced towards her. Unyielding in its defensive stance as a mother, unable to flee, Marilyn instead lay prostrate on the ground, her legs quivering with dread as her heart pounded loudly in her chest. Despite her fervent prayers, the bear persisted and approached her, ultimately hoisting her up by her backpack after crossing over the fallen tree. Marilyn gasped, scarcely daring to utter a sound in the midst of those harrowing moments. She believed that her end had come and that she would never lay eyes on her loved ones again. Her thoughts fixated on how she would be remembered in her final moments, causing a solitary tear to escape her eye. Suddenly, the bear released her, causing her to fall to the ground. For several agonizing minutes, Marilyn lay completely still, too afraid to move. Although she yearned to locate Brian, she refrained from doing so as she was uncertain of the bear's whereabouts. Marilyn waited until she could hear no sound before gradually tilting her head, stretching her neck to scan both directions of the path. Confident that the bear and her cubs had departed, she sprang to her feet and rushed over to Brian, who remained motionless on the path. Calling out his name and lightly slapping his cheeks, Marilyn frantically attempted to revive him. She retrieved her jacket from her backpack and secured it firmly around Brian's leg, which exhibited a deep gash and seeped dark blood, causing a pool to form on the forested terrain. Retrieving her mobile phone, she discovered there was no signal, but attempted to dial 911 nonetheless. Regrettably, nothing occurred. In desperation, she yelled out for assistance, waving her phone high above her head as her anguished cries reverberated throughout the woods. Repeatedly, she endeavored to summon aid, dialing 911 a total of 21 times until a passerby chanced upon the bear. Luckily, the individual possessed a cellular signal and contacted emergency services. Nevertheless, it proved too late for Brian, and he succumbed to his injuries. The occurrence proved heartbreaking, as both Brian and Marilyn failed to adhere to established protocol, and as a result, their fate was sealed. While they possessed reverence for the wildlife they sought to observe, their conduct resulted in Brian's demise. The National Park Service is currently evaluating methods to more effectively educate visitors on how to handle bear confrontations, as it appears that their signage and information placards are insufficient. When encountering a grizzly or brown bear up close, the conventional recommendation is to stand upright, remain tranquil, and converse in a serene tone to the animal. It is imperative to refrain from making any sudden or noisy movements when encountering a bear. Sidle away gradually and sideways, speaking softly and gathering young children immediately while remaining in a group. If multiple individuals are present, lift a hand slowly above the head and move to higher terrain to increase visibility. It is not advisable to climb trees, discard backpacks, or hurl food at the animal. Under no circumstances should one attempt to flee, as this can result in a potentially deadly outcome. In the event of an attack, it is recommended to lie prostrate on the ground with hands interlocked behind the neck and head. Remain in this position for several minutes before rising to ensure that the bear has departed the vicinity. The National Park Service refrained from euthanizing the bear responsible for the attack, as they believed it to be a defensive one, where the bear was protecting her cubs and the victim's actions contributed to the outcome. Nevertheless, another hiker was discovered mauled to death just 2 months later, and DNA evidence from both attacks indicated that the same female bear was responsible for both. Unfortunately, the park rangers made the difficult decision to put down the 7-year-old sow responsible for the attacks. Marilyn searched through Brian's belongings after his passing and stumbled upon his camera. As she scrolled through the photos, she was reminded of the wonderful memories they had created during what was supposed to be an enjoyable vacation. It was heartbreaking for her to lose her beloved partner and soulmate in such a tragic way. It was a stark reminder of how quickly life can change, leaving one feeling empty and alone. Marilyn's life was forever changed by her split-second decision to run. Tears streamed down her face as she looked through Brian's belongings, flipping through the photos on his camera. Her heart skipped a beat when she came across the last photo he had taken of the bear and her cubs wandering through a picturesque meadow in the golden sunshine. They seemed so peaceful and harmless in the photo. But less than 20 minutes later, Brian would utter his final word, "Run," before meeting his terrifying fate. As we come to the end of this harrowing story, it is a reminder of the importance of respecting nature and understanding how to behave around wildlife. We hope this video has been informative and a cautionary tale to all our viewers. Stay tuned for more educational content about bear attacks, and thank you for watching.